Here's what I've been listening to and watching since this time last week. First up is the Calming Classical playlist on Spotify. I started this because I wanted to give my plants a new lease on life. They've been looking really dull for really a long time. I definitely don't have a green thumb, and I thought it was hopeless. And then I was like, I want to get some new plants. Spring is here. I heard that playing classical music for plants helps them grow. I think it worked. Okay, so to be fair, I did put new soil in some of the old plants, and I've been misting them every day. That combined with some fresh soil and playing classical music every day has made my plants look a lot perkier. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, that sounds like a bunch of hippie stuff, I'd like to introduce you to cymatics. Cymatics is the study on how sound waves affect physical matter. Simply put, it actually shapes physical matter in different ways. Take the videos here showing how the sound waves are affecting the different patterns of sand, as well as this video showing how sound vibrations affect the shapes of water formations. Now, plants are made up of about 90% water, and humans are between 60 and 70% water. So it only makes sense that sound vibrations would affect not only plants, but human bodies as well. I mean, after all, humans are just houseplants with feelings. And so over the past week or so, because I've been playing classical music around the apartment for the plants, I have been reaping the benefits of that. I've felt a lot calmer. I start the days with classical music while I'm getting ready for the day, and it just puts me at ease. It makes me feel really peaceful when I actually do it. And in fact, I've left classical music playing in our apartment while we are away. So when we come back home, it's nice to walk into that feeling of peace and calm. Now, my experience with classical music starts from a really young age. I took ballet around 4, 5, and 6, and of course we danced to classical music then. I also visited my grandparents, my paternal grandparents, every summer and some Christmases, and they always played classical music in the car and at home. So whenever I was at their house, classical music would be playing throughout the house. And also, being an 80s and 90s kid, I watched a lot of Bugs Bunny, a lot of Looney Tunes, and they play classical music in a lot of their cartoons. Well, at least they used to. It's been nice to kind of go back to listening to classical music, but intentionally. I think I only have one classical album from like my early 20s, Vivaldi, and I really like that album, but exploring more is now of interest to me because of my newfound reinterest in classical music. So I think I will be starting to learn more of the composers because I recognize songs, but I don't necessarily know the names of them or the composers. And so it'll be an interesting journey to see what I stumble upon. Next on the list of what I've been listening to or what I listened to is the novel We Have Always Lived in the Castle, which was written in 1962 by Shirley Jackson. Now, how I stumbled upon this book was I recently joined Kristen Kreuk's book club. She was the actress in Smallville, and she's been in Beauty and the Beast. She recently starred in Burden of Truth, and she's currently starring in Murder in a Small Town. Happens to be an avid reader, and she started a book club on Fable. The book club is called the Mad Woman's Library. In order to join, you have to message the moderator if you're interested and they just want to prove that you're worthy of being part of the club. I do plan to get some physical copies of books, but currently audiobooks tend to be easier for me because I can listen to them while I'm doing other things. And so I was able to listen to this book in one day, which was really cool because they had just finished the book. And so I was able to quickly catch up to speed and understand what people were talking about in their discussions. Now, this book, We Have Always Lived in the Castle, is a fictional story in which a young girl named Mary Cat and her family are kind of entangled in this scandal that you don't really find out until partway through the book exactly what the scandal is, but the townfolk just don't really like her family that much. And when the book opens, you find out quickly that a lot of her family has unfortunately died, but you don't know why, and it's revealed later on in the story. It's kind of keeps you on slightly the edge of your seat because you're trying to figure out what's going on. Why don't the townfolk like these girls? It's she and her sister, and what could possibly have happened to make a whole town turn against these two young girls. Also living with them is their old uncle who needs to be cared for. And that's all I'll say because I don't want to give anything away. But I actually really liked the story because I thought it had a nice kind of plot twist, although my brain works very, very quickly, and hence why I listen to audiobooks at 1.5 the speed. And so I kind of figured out what happened like before it was revealed. Apparently there's a movie adaptation to the book. I heard that the movie adaptation isn't really that good. I'm still gonna watch it because I love watching adaptations of books. I just think it's fun to see the story come to life, even if it's not exactly what you envisioned in your head. And I'm excited for future books with this book club. I actually am going to go back and visit all of the previous books that they have read. Before joining this, was watching the archives of Kristen's reading of excerpts from the different books that they were reading in their book club. And finally one day I was like, oh, I should join the book club so I know what she's talking about. And she also will interview the authors, which is really cool, of the books from the book club. And so you get a little bit of a deeper dive into the thought process of the authors, which I think is really awesome. And so definitely I recommend you checking out this book if you like fiction with, it's kind of like a mystery and a twist. And also if you're really into books, just maybe consider joining that book club. I also am starting my own book club. Well, I have like a physical book club, meaning like I meet with my friends in person with this book club, but I wanted to open it up virtually. So if you're interested, it is a book to movie club in which we will read a book and then we watch a movie adaptation or TV show adaptation, which is like my favorite thing.